Like, what advice would you give to an aspiring? I think outside of like network, be ready, make sure you have income and all that stuff. I promise you, this is probably what I hold dear, and I didn't even say this to you upstairs. Find your luxury before you find your success. Because if you find your luxury first, what you just love doing, before you find your success is never tied to your luxury, and your luxury is never held hostage by your success.
Time to embrace change and be about that life. This is Dr. Vass with the About That Life podcast, the podcast about life or living intentionally forever. Well, as you know, I get the pleasure of knowing people from across the country and across the world. Some are friends, some are colleagues, but some are like family members. And today I'm bringing to you someone that is a family member, a brother, right? And he said, Dr. Vass, we know your brothers. No, but this is someone who, again, through a mutual bond, we connected, and I've got to see his maturation, growth, maturity, all the things that we want. But the one thing that held true through all that time was his determination and desire to succeed. As you know, the music industry is a place that can spit you up, that can spit you out and throw you back. But he was determined with his goals, his ideas, his creativity to put all that together. But he did that on the backdrop of truly desiring what he wanted to get out of life and not taking no for an answer. So I don't want to hold you all up. I want to present to some and introduce to others Gabriel Roland. How you doing, my friend?
Good to see you, man. Seriously.
What's going on?
That intro was amazing. Oh, like, yo, you need to speech right on my stuff.
Well, I mean, hey, I'm available. I mean, I would, as you know, man, this comes more from a place of admiration, pride, you name it. We just spent an hour and me telling you how to be a fan. I mean, I hate the word fan because I'm more of a student. A student of your grind, right? To see, I won't mention your song that I really like.
Crazy.
It's that's some buck. It's not. Now, come on now. It's not girly. I said very early. It is early. It is. But you evolved. So yes. So tell us a little about yourself.
Gabe Roland, aka Dstrk for Kansas City. Born and raised Wyandotte County, Kansas. I live in LA now. I'm a Grammy-nominated writer, producer. I'm also an artist. I sing, I rap, I play piano, drums, guitar, dance. You do all of that because you need to have more than one hat. So people say, what do you do for a living? I say, I figure it out.
And I think that's so important because a lot of times what happens is people force people into these boxes. And we talked about this upstairs, right? We talked about, okay, well, I have to do this and I have to do that. And you told a story about, you basically gave an excerpt from The Alchemist where you talked about this process of someone making a choice that ultimately they would regret, and the people around them knew it, and so they really pushed them not to make that choice. But I think our society's a little bit backwards. We push people into spaces. So talk about where you were and how you moved and how you pushed against the machine, not in a negative way, but just to say, that's not what I wanted. How did you do that?
For me, it was about quieting the inner voice that I believe we all have. And it was like, okay, I was losing, but I was looking good losing because I had a job that paid a lot. You know what I'm saying? And that's not mine. That's a line from Little Brother, this rap group. And they was like, every now and then you got to ask yourself, do you really want to win or just look good losing? And like, you can lie to everybody, but you can't lie to yourself. So, the people that I love the most, the people that I just talk to about things, I told them, and then I was it. And, and they were like, all right, bro, you're going to do it. We're going to make sure that you do it. Conway, E-Dick, Eric Dickerson, E-Dick, Marcus, just recall random, bro, I'm thinking about you, don't quit. You know what I mean? Like, for years. Now I'm listening to your early music, bro, you too dope, don't quit. Because there are times where you want to stop because the grind is frustrating.
Right.
But for me, I needed to know because that inner voice was so loud and you can't tame it or quench that voice with anything that's not what you know you want to do.
Right.
And
Right.
like I was telling you, it's always different if it's something that may be lofty or beyond like a skill set that you have. You can make peace with not doing that. But if you know that you can do it,
Right.
like for me, it's like with music, I put so much time in my craft just trying to get good, like and make music that can compete on a national, commercial, or international level. And it was like, all right, so I'm hearing music and you get back to the crib and all your boys is looking at you like, bro, you know that you can make something better than that.
Man,
Like, it's hard to escape that, you know?
But that's that positive environment that we talked about, right? Because one of the problems, I think, and I'm just not going to say in our community, but in communities as a whole, is this relegation to mediocrity, right? Just getting back to the mean and being good with just being good. But I think all of us, everyone has the ability for greatness, right? And for you, you took the path less traveled, right? I mean, think about it.
So I'm here.
You had a set job.
Yes, I did.
You knew, you wake up, you knew what you were going to get. You did that. But what happened? What happened from a mental standpoint when you were in that space? What happened?
With the set?
With that set, you know, when you saying you were doing the American dream, right? Yeah, 401k, all that stuff, right? But what changed? You know, because we talked about it upstairs, and if you want to share, because I think a lot of people were at that space and they had to trust themselves. So what happened at that point?
I went through a paradigm shift where, like, you know, my life and the finality of my life was very much in my face. I was on an airplane and the brakes went out and they gave us emergency flight instructions, which is extremely, they're like, Gabe, how scary is it? It's so scary because it's sober. It's not frantic. And it's like, people would tell you, you know, you'll either, what would you do in that circumstance? Because I was in it, nobody was panicking because everybody was too sober dealing with the fact that this could be it. Thank God the plane landed fine and we were all unharmed. Yeah. But you step off that plane being like, yo, you really don't, with well-intention, sometimes you can't, you know, predict the weather. You could paint a pretty picture, but you can't predict the weather. Like it's a very real song. So like for me, that just made me stop and examine, if my life stopped today, how happy would I be with myself? You know, like knowing that I had a skill set that would allow me to go on a level. It's like, okay, well, am I just willing to pay the price to get there? So for me, that's what pushed me out the boat. You know what I mean? Like people are afraid to walk on water and they negative by virtue of what they are. Right. Even in most churches, preacher goes, Peter was walking on water and then he said, and then what happened? And the whole church is so loud. He got distracted and began to seek. And I'm over here like, yeah, he sang, but he also walked.
Yeah.
And he was the only one who was bold enough to get out the boat. It's like people just have a thing where it's like, okay, they see your failure because it helps them feel better about whatever it is that they have. And
That's it.
in their life. And I've been blessed to know a lot of millionaires. And none of them ever tell me to be realistic. You can't, right? The only thousandaires tell me to be realistic.
Hey, get your head out of the clouds. Hey, get you a steady job and do this. And I think, you know, one of the things that resonated with me in our conversation earlier, where you basically said you have to be, not verbatim, your biggest cheerleader. You have to believe that I've got something that I need to share. I've got something. Now that's that talent piece. But we talked about talent without hard work.
It's crazy.
Right?
It's crazy in like the way that, because that, especially in this conversation with like just your mental health and your well-being and wellness, that will drive you crazy. So when people say, Gabe, what do you do? What did you do? Like, first thing I did was develop a routine.
Okay, talk about that.
I wake up at 6 a.m. No matter what, if I got a bunch of projects, 6 a.m. No projects, 6 a.m. I go for runs. I run 4 miles every other day. Been doing that since I got out here. It helps because you got to process that monkey on your back and you got to process anxiety and all the, what if I keep grinding and things don't work out? It's like a lot of that you can process through running, and then running has residual kickbacks that are actually healthy for you.
Yep. That's hard, guys. So, I'm sure that running.
Yeah, so that's why, and I've done that for over 10 years consistently. Now it's my favorite thing to do. Like I keep a pair of runners in my car.
Wow.
I love LA. I'm always by the water. And if the sunset is gorgeous, I will literally change and get a quick run in. Like I love it. So like that was, I think for me, that was a big part of it, was develop a routine and develop an organized schedule. On Mondays, I do this. On Tuesdays, I do this. And it's like, why? Because you gotta see yourself as a business.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, independent contractors are entrepreneurs. And, so I don't say things like, oh, I'm just trying to go gig to gig now, because that sounds like check to check.
Yeah.
That's where you are. No disrespect. That's just not where I want to be.
Right.
So it was like, okay, that was probably my biggest part, was developing a routine and being really disciplined
With that routine. Sticking to it.
Yes. All the time. I think that's probably the biggest factor of things that just helped with your well-being. I'm trying to figure out how to make, this transition.
Yeah.
Because if there was just one way to do it, there would be way more successful people.
You got a point.
It's like if there was just a formula, somebody would have sold it by now.
Yep.
And
package it up, bottle it up, and just been good with it. Yep.
Yeah. So, it's like, it's the biggest part about the grind is literally, because you don't see the end game. It's like with the corporate job or with the 9-to-5 job, Friday's payday.
Yep. You got 401ks, 401k. Yep.
Your review is at the end of the quarter. For most, like you have goals to shoot for. In this field, it's like you have goals, but they may be 10 years down the road. They may be 10 minutes away. So the biggest part is to stay ready.
Right.
For me, it's like,
But you gave some other clues too, right? One of them was you can't take it personal.
No.
You can't take it personal.
Cannot.
And respond. When people do give you a positive response, respond back to them. I mean, you told a story of, hey, somebody gave me a number, I want to work with you. Okay, great. I'm going to text you in the next. And I think a lot of times people will wait until their boat gets really, really close to shore before they decide to take the first swim.
People are afraid of doing too much, because we're in a culture where we literally, for whatever reason, look at, oh, now you're doing too much. Now you're saying too much. Now you just like, for whatever.
Yep.
It's like, I'd rather do too much than not enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, what do you mean I'm doing too much? I want this.
What else would I be doing?
Like you're a weirdo. Like, yeah, why are you doing too much? Because this is what I really want. Yeah. And I'm willing to do too much. Like there's that aspect of it. There's networking. But you find out in the music business, like I imagine in business, people are like, you got to hear music. Most people hear music, they don't hear business. It's like, no, it's music business.
Right.
In the music, the business.
Yeah, business.
Yeah. It's like, go to these events, network. Issa Rae, somebody who I greatly admire, because she started Insecures based off of a YouTube show she had called Awkward Black.
Wow.
And her fan base was gathered through emails. She did email chains. And Insecure, which is a phenomenon on HBO, was a YouTube series called Awkward Black Girl. And she said something that makes a lot of sense. She said, people always want to reach up and hope that somebody in a higher position takes a chance to work with them.
Right.
She was like, don't reach out, reach out.
And build those connections and collaborate.
And a lot of the people that we think about, like, even some of our legends, Robert Townsend, Eddie Murphy, Keenan Ivory Wayans. Like, I was like, wait a minute. Robert Townsend directed Raw, and Keenan Ivory Wayans wrote one of the opening sketches for Raw.
That's crazy.
It's like they did that together, and the same thing with Hollywood Shuffle, and even the Five Heartbeats. Some of those historic, like, if you know.
Mm-hmm.
Films that are, it's a team. Yeah, there's a team. I mean, like how, so like more and more super teams that you find out about. Most times it's like, you see us all now, but we've been grinding together for the longest time.
It's not a new thing.
Other than that. So like, you feel comfortable with that. Like reach out and be ready. And even with the not taking things personal, it's like you gotta toughen up. You gotta toughen up, but you gotta also know that the sun will shine again. It's like, yeah, you want it bad. We all want it bad.
Yeah.
But like, there's balance in everything. I don't like to use the word but, because it offsets one way. While you want it bad, make sure to have balance in your right. So it's like, all right, I expect yes every time. What am I working for?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
If I don't hear yes, my world's not going to collapse though.
Right. So it's not the end of the world. It's not, I get another time at bat.
Yeah.
Those type.
Yeah. So like, you know, like we sell a lot of things. You only get one shot and your opportunity, blah, 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 don't blow it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you know, okay, it sucks if you do blow an opportunity. If you want this bad enough, you're going to work hard to get it. And another opportunity, and maybe this time you'll be smart enough not to make the same mistakes you did last time. But that's what it is. Is rinse, wash, repeat. Rinse
and continue that cycle.
Repeat.
It's basically what you said. Is getting that routine, learning that routine, getting in that cycle, having those healthy behaviors, building that community, all those things. So I know that's the science talk, right?
Okay.
But talk about you. I know you got a new project that just hit.
Okay.
No, you know I got to bring it up, right? It's because it's the end of the summer, so why not have an endless summer?
Yeah,
about that project and what that meant and the mindset behind Endless Summer.
The funny thing about Endless Summer is I wrote Endless Summer before I did all this new music with Chris Brown and all this new music that's on upcoming season of Proud Family, like all of this stuff that I got coming out. I wrote Endless Summer 5 years ago.
Man, it's so time. I mean, well, now that I know, I'm trying to think, what was I doing 5 years ago? I mean,
there are so many stories in the music business that sound exactly the same. You're like, oh man, this record came out. Well, when they get it, well, they actually got this track 8 years ago. You know, like there's so crazy prominent producers and artists who say the exact same thing. And it's like, Endless Summer came out through conversation. So I was trying to figure out what to do. And every time I've ever played that record for anybody, the reaction speaks louder than I ever could. People are like, oh my God, I love this record. And so the concept, falls here now for most people who don't live in either like Miami or Southern California. And it's like, all right, but mentally, most people are still there in summer. And then it's like, all right, so what I thought about is, because we travel, you travel.
right.
I go to Australia a lot. It's a totally different hemisphere. They're getting ready for summer as we're getting ready for winter here in the States. So it's always summer somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I just wrote a song called Endless Summer. It's about first dates and the butterflies and the feeling that you get from being with somebody that makes you feel that way. Well, it's crazy. It's just like our search low for a million days, want to love you like a million ways. First dates, endless summers. Birthday, you my day one. You know, it's like stuff like that. It's crazy. Just trying to find a poetic way.
That's it. Nah, because I'm, reading it back. Now, again, the song just dropped. So if y'all don't know, the song just dropped. Endless, you got to get it. Again, it's on all platforms. Thank you, man. For us that don't have the creative words, I think it's basically your Valentine's, birthday, Mother's Day, whatever
it is.
It's that in a card.
It's a ride home after a good day.
Exactly.
It really.
That's Endless Summer.
That's Endless Summer.
Now,
yeah.
I told you I wasn't going to tell you my favorite track. Now, my favorite track, I think it's got some choice words. Not too itchy. Actually, no. Yes, man.
Oh, yes.
Because this guy, I could actually move the.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you, Jack.
I don't know that ain't the, but I love that track.
So it was close. Pretty close. That's pretty good.
I bump it up.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I wrote Yes Man in New York. Wrote it in 2019, recorded it in a day. And I did Yes Man. But like the other part is, it's like, that sounds really dope to be like, yo, I wrote that in a day. Or I was talking about some of the music we do for CB. It's like, oh man, I make that in this amount of time. That sounds dope, but remember, I'm able to do it in that short amount of time because of all the time I spent, just a lifetime that you get into that process. Trying to figure it out, writing things that don't make sense, writing songs that are not good or not as good as what I'm making now, making music that is not as good as what it was, having a spark and then being around people that still wouldn't be like, yo, you suck, leave. And I'd be like, all right, bro, that's fire. All right, once you work on these things. I had a cousin, shout out to my cousin Bullet, my cousin Eric, used to let me come to their house every Sunday when I was a kid, and just learn how to sequence and make music, wow. And they would come down, okay, that's fire. Yeah, raise the bass line up. But other than that, cousin, that sounds good. All right, you hit that chord, you want your bass line to don't. Make sure your bass line is hitting the same time your kick drum is hitting. They wouldn't be like, bro, that's trash, get out. As like
They help you evolve.
yeah, and I think that's why even with me, and we're talking about like messaging, is like this is how I talk to myself. If I'm helping somebody else, tell the whole truth. The whole truth is like, yeah, this part may not be as good, but that's cool because this part is really fire. So all we got to do is just bring this up.
Right.
And let's just like learn how to see that because like, you know, what you say matters. And when it comes to your mental health, man, you got to be good to yourself. Every job ever invented in life, you got to be good to yourself.
And you can't run thinking on their zone.
Yeah, it's like look, when this person might blah blah blah. It's like yeah, that's it. But you know, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yep.
It really is.
You said it.
And it's like so you got to be good to yourself. I think for your mental health, especially in the music business, because it can be treacherous. I'm being honest. It can be
Music business.
right? Part, yeah, especially you know, because there's an absence of HR. So some people know that, and some people have such a fear of missing out that they will go along with things that they feel like, oh, I'm just paying my dues, and then you become aware, and you're like, no, I'm not.
No, that's not part of the process.
Yeah, I'm just not going to be here. You got to be okay with missing out. You got to be okay with going, all right, this ain't for me. It's like you know, be hungry, not desperate.
God, say that again.
Be hungry, don't be desperate.
All right. So now from that, be hungry, stay on your grind, but don't grind yourself into dust. Don't lose so much of yourself in the business that you don't recognize who you are. Because I think a lot of the kids that I mentor, I say kids, the young people that I mentor, they want to do music. So if you had some pointers, and you gave us some, right? Get your routine, you know what I'm saying? You know, be good to yourself, you know, those type of things. But what are some steps that they could take, not to necessarily be the next Dstrk, because you are a phenomenon as one of your albums, you know, I got that.
it.
I told you, I listened to him, man, you know what I'm saying? I listened to him, you know what I'm saying? So, but what could you tell them? What would be a few things if someone's just starting out?
If you just starting out, whether you 1 or 100, ask yourself, do you have joy in it? Because you and the grind is going to be together for a long time.
Right.
So I would say, make sure that there's joy in creating. Make sure there's joy in the tracks that you don't like. Make sure there's joy in the process, not the finished work, but joy in the process. Like when we cooking and I love it. I love it because in my mind, I was like, oh man, I know where we're going. And as a producer and an arranger, I can get us there. But like, I have joy in the process. And the other part is, I would tell them that I would say this is a skill and it's a highly competitive business. So like, be ready, and don't just be ready, be undeniably good, you know, that's the truth. Why? Because LA is the second largest city for a reason. People come to LA to be what they've always dreamed about being. And you hear the term big fish in a small pond, you know, big fish in a small pond. Well, LA is not a small pond, it's the ocean. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
currents are harder in the ocean than they are in the pond. You got to swim harder. Yeah. It's deeper. There's bigger fish.
Yeah.
Bigger predators. Yeah. So it's not big fish in a small pond. It's fish in the ocean. Can you swim in the ocean?
Yeah. Can you figure it out? Yeah.
Yeah. So you gotta really, you gotta be good, and you gotta be developing. You know what I'm saying? You gotta always be developing, and you gotta always be ready to readjust whatever it is that you was doing. It's like, okay, that was fire, and it really, because you gotta live, you gotta eat.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, bro, I'm about to quit my job and just do it. And I'll be like, all right.
I mean, there was somebody tonight that came up, and you were like, hey, you know, get a job and be really good. You literally, you met him for the first time, but that's what you said. He said, get a job and be really good at that, and then keep grinding. Don't stop. Yeah.
And like some people go, I hate this job, I hate this, whatever. I'm like, your mind, attitude is everything. If you work at McDonald's and you want to do music and you're doing music at night, right? Don't go, I hate this job. No, say, McDonald's is a proud sponsor of my studio session.
That's a win-win. That's a win-win.
You're not hungry.
Yep.
Your bills is paid and you still got to go to the studio.
Yes.
Nobody you know, like you can't create when you're under duress. You can't create with nowhere to live.
Yeah. Your mind's not free. Your mind's not excited to do it.
It's like, all right, budget, do what you got to do. But like the way you see stuff, man, the way you see a problem defines any problem. So like, this is how I see it. Oh, if you're working at Starbucks, oh, bro, tonight's studio session was brought to you by the good folks at Starbucks.
Yeah, man. See, but that's you doing something that I don't think a lot of people have the skill to reframe their environment, to reshape how they think about their present situation, because most people only see themselves where they are.
Yeah.
They don't see themselves where they want to be. So, you know, and I think just talking to you and like I said, upstairs, y'all won't, that's the other conversation we had where we got to talk about the big process and those steps and those type things. And so, you know, and I don't know we got to run, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say people probably say, so how do you know this musical genius that travels around the world? Well, we are both members of the best, the fraternity,
Absolute best.
in the world, right?
Absolute best chapter.
Absolute best chapter is the Mu, right? And you know, as a Kappa man, achievement,
Every field of human endeavor.
every field, it's a second thought.
Yes.
So, how did that, our ideals of achievement and growth and connectivity, I'll say it that way to not say too much.
I get you.
How did that assist in give you that mind? Because you already had the mindset. Remember, it didn't make this. You already had it, but it was something to say, okay, if I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be the top here. If I'm gonna be here, how did it do that?
It's almost like the fraternity for me is like that kung fu movie where the sensei tells their student, remember your training. Remember your training. Okay, that's how I look at it. And it's like, okay, you have examples all around you. Cardiologists, lawyers, doctors, teachers, instructors, entrepreneurs on every field. You're mobile. You have multi things going in your life. You know, that's right. Like in examples of it. So now when you look at it, if you do, there's nothing wrong with needing to see an example of success. You're not a weak-minded individual for that. You need to see it. Okay, cool. You have it. So like I look at it like, remember your training. And the other part is, I know we were talking about when you were saying things that are right in front of people and people can't see it. It's like, I think people need to develop a bird's eye view. It's like if you're in traffic, which we both hate, you see the car in front of you. Helicopter got the bird's eye view with like, yeah, traffic is moving slow because there's a wreck. But once you get past this moment, you will smooth out. You gotta learn how to see things from a bird's eye view. And I'm big on wellness, man. Like, I do not believe that your passion should kill you. Okay, what do you love more than music?
Hey, man, stop doing therapy on me, man. Lord, you trying to get me in trouble for you.
But like, okay, so when you were like, what advice would you give to an aspiring? I think outside of like network, be ready, make sure you have income and all that stuff. I promise you, this is probably what I hold dear, and I didn't even say this to you upstairs. Find your luxury before you find your success. Because if you find your luxury first, what you just love doing, before you find your success is never tied to your luxury, and your luxury is never held hostage by your success. For me, I love going to the beach. I love going on runs. And, you know, my luxury is actually basic everyday things because I'm in a business where everything is so big and so presented in such a way. It's like, all right, well, if I never make another record, I can still go for a run at the beach.
Wow. You still can go, yeah.
Yeah, I could still go to a farmer's market, which is my thing. You're like, I love farmer's markets. Like, my luxuries are things that if every contact and every connection and network stops, that might suck for sure. But my luxury is I'll go see sunsets, man. That's my luxuries. When you have that, it's like being in high school when you were single and you really like this girl, nobody wants to talk to you. The moment you got a girlfriend, all the girls wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Because
it's Mike Jones phenomenon.
Yeah, back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot, they all on me. It's almost like because you're willing, people, you walk different and people see that. Like that's when you finally got a girl, everybody wants to talk to you back in high school. Why? Because you're good, you're happy.
Yeah.
And that resonates. I'm always in that state. It's like, all right, my luxury is not connected to my work, nor will I ever let it be that, because that can go up, that can go down, and no. So that's what I would tell anybody. Find your luxury. Well, Gabe, I like expensive things. We all do. But luxury doesn't mean expensive. Luxury means what can you do every day for the rest of your life. For me, it's going to the beach and watching the sunset, man. Going for a run.
Man, you just, like I say, gold mine, creative thought, creative. And I knew, that's why I said, I know we hanging out, but I said, I gotta get this. Cause there's no telling when those young people come and talk to me and they have these thoughts and ideas, I can refer them to this as a toolkit on how not only to break into the music industry, on how to trust yourself, how to believe, but really how to enhance your mental health in such a way where you're stronger. And these aren't things that they got to go out and pay. These are all simple things. That's why I love the fact that you said, hey, don't let your success hold you, don't let your luxury hold your success hostage, or vice versa. In that sense where people always see themselves for what they want, not what they really need.
Right.
And I think that's the challenge. Well, like I said, we're going to go hang out some more.
For sure.
But tell the people what you're doing right now, so they could, because we already told them about Endless Summer, and he got tons of music. If y'all want anything else, he got everything. I won't even name all the genres that he did. There was one song where I think he was speaking Spanish. I don't know. I know you. I'm like, is he trilingual? What in the world?
Just bilingual.
But just bilingual. But it was cold. It was a cold track.
Thank you.
So
appreciate it.
So just let them know exactly what you're doing, where they can find you, how they can connect, and any other projects that you can tell us about, because I know you international, worldwide.
All right, well, right now there's a brand new documentary on Netflix called Pop Star Academy, Cat's Eye. It just came out August 21st, about a K-pop group that they put together, and I am all on it as one of the development coaches as far as their vocals are concerned. So I'm on Netflix, which is crazy. Also, keep it. I think that's probably one I could talk about out loud.
Yeah.
Please listen to 1111 for Chris Brown. I co-wrote and produced 7 records on there, including Summer Too Hot, Feel Something, and Angel Numbers. So we really want to bring that Grammy home. We want to go from being nominated to Grammy-award winning. So we need y'all to make sure you do that. And those are probably the music things I got going.
Because he got a lot going. And so, again, how can they find you? I know he has Instagram. How can they find you? Because I know people going to see this. I mean, and I always send, I send songs to people. I'm like, where you at in your life right now? Hold on. I can see them. Because I just sent them. I sent a cardiologist. You just deal with the heart. Medicine. Yeah. I'm like, I can't help you with that space you in, but I think this song will help you. Like, I got a group of fantasy football guys, and I sent them a couple of tracks. I still have not sent When They Rock the Party. That was good. I keep that one in my bag.
The fact that you still got that is the dopest thing ever. It just goes to show what that means is that this man really, really has believed in me from day one. He is a day one. And the fact that he played this record for me, I'm like, bro, okay. That just means, I really, really believe in you. You can find me. My socials are I am Dstrk. That's IAM DSTRK. That's my Instagram. That's my TikTok. If you're on Facebook, you can look up Gabe Roland. That's the only one where I still just rock that for the people I grew up with. But I am Dstrk. And if you're looking for my music, just look up Dstrk, DSTRK, on all of your streaming platforms. Dstrk represents Kansas City, Kansas, Wyandotte County, District 500. Took the I out because I alone didn't do it by myself. I had a whole bunch of help. So it's DSTRK for Kansas.
Man, see, that's the type of branding I need right there, man. Well, as I said, this is Dr. Bass with the About That Life podcast, the podcast about life, living intentionally forever. And that's what we did. Again, with friends who are family, we really got to see growth, maturation, success. Again, understanding that success and luxury are not synonymous. However, they should provide you a place of peace. Remember, your passion should not kill you, even though that hurts me a little bit. But in any case, what I want you to do is take the nuggets that we've gleaned from this discussion and apply them through your life. Whether it's 1, 2, 3, or the 15 that he's dropped, make sure that you use it to empower yourself to live intentionally forever. All right, brother. We truly hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, share it with a friend, leave a comment, and certainly join us for our next episode of the About That Life podcast.